Teachers of Reddit, what is the most embarrassing reason you called a child's parents for? Here's what Redditors have to say. It wasn't embarrassing, it was funny, but in response to the question, what comes in pairs? Her son, with total sincerity and enthusiasm said, testicles. I emailed to let them know he was a little upset that I didn't write down his suggestion on the board. His mom said she printed the email and planned to pull it out again on some Thanksgiving to read aloud when he was a teenager. This is 100% something I would do. Yell about testicles in front of a bunch of kids. I had to call a single dad to inform him that his 6-year-old son perfectly described an explicit porn scene to his friends. This was before internet porn, so the kid must have found dad's special movies. My mama was a kindergarten teacher and had to call a little boy's mom for playing with his wang under the table and getting the girls to look under the table. Later on they found out that the kid's dad got arrested for showing his own wang to strange women in Walmart dressing rooms. Your son called a girl in class a bitch, and when I sent him to the office, he threw up all over the place. Gotta love 3rd grade. My mans could not stand them hoes. That's almost a poem. This happened to a colleague when I worked in elementary school. A kindergartner had asked at the beginning of gym class to go to the bathroom. He intentionally didn't wipe himself. When he came back to the gym, he backed up so that his ass was right in line with another kid's face, who was sitting crisscross applesauce on the floor, dropped his pants, and put his shitty ass on that poor kid's face. My colleague had to escort them both to the office and call in a district interpreter to call the unfortunate child's parents and tell them that their son might have hepatitis. Nothing makes you realize we are not that far removed from our simian ancestors, quite like children doing disgusting shit with fecal matter. I had to explain to a 6-year-old's parents that I wouldn't be wiping his ass for him. They seemed surprised that a 6-year-old would have to wipe his own ass. Edit 1. Wow. Does this qualify as a comment blowing up? Here's some more context. We had bathrooms attached to the classroom, so you didn't have to go very far. When he did this the first time, he calls out, "I'm ready." I had an e-pointer who went and investigated, then came back and very sheepishly explained the situation. I told him through the door to just do the best job he could and to wash his hands a lot. He did not do a good job, so I ran and found an administrator who took it from there. We had the meeting with his parents that afternoon. The family were recent immigrants from India, so I wanted to be sensitive to cultural differences, but so far every person from the subcontinent gives me the same WTF response when I tell them this story. When I was in college, I worked at the front desk of my residence hall, and one day I had to give a tour of our showroom to a couple parents. This was one of the strangest experiences from my time working there. We went up to the room and I went over all the different features and asked if they had any questions. I really wish they had said no. I'll paraphrase the conversation. "Father, when does housekeeping come?" Me, "Housekeeping services aren't provided to the residents. They are expected to clean up after themselves." Mother, "Oh, that's no good. Our son is an absolute mess. He does not clean up after himself, so he will need somebody to do it for him. Also, this is a room for multiple people, but he requested a single room. Could we see one of those, since that's what he'll be getting?" Me, "Well, there isn't a guarantee that he'll get a single room. Those rooms are very limited and are filled on a first come, first serve basis. If he did not submit his housing application right away, he most likely won't be placed in a single room." Mother, "Oh, no, that won't do. As I said, our son is very messy and disgusting in the way he lives. I wouldn't want to make other people deal with living with him." Me, "Well, this could be a good experience for him, then. If he is living with other people, it could encourage him to learn to clean up after himself and maintain a healthier living space." Father, "I don't think that will work. He just won't clean up after himself. He doesn't even go to the bathroom. If he doesn't absolutely have to, he'll play video games in his room all day and keep a bottle next to him so he can use that instead of getting up to go to the bathroom. I don't remember anything beyond that, but I think that after the pee bottle I just tried to wrap things up and get out of there as soon as possible. High school deaf sped teacher here. My student had contracted a bad stomach virus in his freshman year. He started off the day perfectly fine, had no symptoms, and it suddenly hits him. He suddenly asked if he could go to the bathroom, and I could see on his face that something was wrong. So I let him go. He came back almost 30 minutes later in tears because he'd lost complete control of his bowels on the way to the bathroom in front of an entire lunch crowd. Thankfully his dad was less than 10 minutes away to help with a clean change of clothes. I happened to keep baby wipes in stock and gave him a full pack to clean himself in a teacher's bathroom, where I brought him when he'd finally come back, so he'd have privacy to clean himself with dad's help. It was awful, and I felt so bad for him. Oh god, that must have been embarrassing as hell. I'd be so freaked out that I wouldn't show up for a couple days. I'm not a teacher, but I work within a school and overheard the principal telling a teacher that he needed to call an 8th grader's parent because this 8th grader kept sending pictures of his penis to many girls. I'd hate to be the person to make that phone call, and I'm glad I wasn't. Actually had a parent call me and apologize. Threw a kid out of class for licking highlighters. Gave him a warning. Took the highlighters away. Somehow he got another one and did it again. Told him to go to detention. He protested, but eventually went. Got a call that night on my personal phone. I have no idea how mom got my number. The mom profusely apologizing and straight up admitting that her son was being an idiot. Then she put him on the phone and made him apologize too. It was really hard not to laugh because you could tell this kid had been getting reamed out by his parents over the incident and was not interested in talking to me. The kid was like 15. Teaching was a fun time in my life. Not sure if I'll go back, but it sure was an adventure. This is high school kid. Damn, I thought this was like an elementary school kid, so I imagined this tiny kid being like, I'm sorry I was licking highlighters petrol _ my eyes. My elementary school didn't quite do detention, it was more like sit by teacher's desk / go to the office. I'm not a teacher, but my little cousin got a phone call home because he threatened to bitch his teacher with a fly swatter. HMN. Never tried using bitch as a verb. I like it. My son told me around age 4 that he was going to kick me in the bitch. I'm honestly laughing out loud right now. Not a teacher, but I used to do presentations in high schools with women in STEM. It wasn't uncommon to meet young ladies who were interested in the field, but didn't have anyone personally to give them guidance. So I'd hand out business cards, occasionally mentor people, and give them advice on projects. One gal took me up on the offer, and we kept in contact. She sent me some drawings and wiring diagrams to look at. One evening she emailed me a picture of something she was building. Quite clearly in the background of the picture was her in her underwear reflected in a mirror. I emailed her back alerting her to her mistake and telling her to be extremely careful, as it's hard enough for a woman to be taken seriously in the field the way it is. Received another image shortly that was much more explicit and included a letter detailing how I couldn't deny our chemical attraction. I immediately cut off contact with her, blocked her number. She created some alternate email accounts and kept trying to contact me. Got to the point where she was calling my office and asking for me. So I let my boss know what was up, and I decided to call her parents. So I straight up outed this poor girl to her parents, who didn't believe me at first. After talking to their daughter, they called and apologized and said it was taken care of. That's the last I ever heard from her. I looked her up a bit ago, and it looks like she's a me with a girlfriend, so seems to be doing alright. My teacher had to call and apologize to my mom after she told me she wouldn't let me go to the nurse because I was always asking. So I threw up on her desk in front of the whole class. power move. Thanks for watching. Please make sure to subscribe and like the video for more content. See you all later.